I'm just going to have my videos look a little different every time until I find something that I like. I hope this video looks a lot better and sounds a lot better than the last one, but I wanted to make a video just solely based on The Brutalist. It's a movie that I purposefully didn't mention on the last video because it's something I don't want to share as my favorite of the year or the best movie of 2024. Like, I don't want to talk about it in such a binary way as far as like best or good or anything like that. I would just rather talk about it as it is. I don't plan on making this video long, really, but the movie is really long. I don't want that to discourage anybody from watching it. I clearly get why people would be driven away from watching a 3-hour movie. I barely have time to be watching 3-hour movies. Sometimes I don't even finish them. I'll skip the first couple scenes and I'll jump in like the halfway point. I'll jump in the halfway point of a 3-hour movie, like The Irishman. Revisiting Martin Scorsese movies are always pretty rewarding as far as seeing the little things that he gets right every single time he makes a movie. That is kind of the reason why I would want to watch The Brutalist again, is because there's so much detail in there. And you can tell that this script was carefully curated and put together by Brady Corbet, the co-writer and director, co-written by Mona Fastfold, I think that's how you say her name, which is his wife, I believe. And the film was shot on VistaVision, which is probably something I can probably get into right now, I guess. I guess this video might be a little long. The film was shot by Lowell Crawley, and he's a cinematographer. He was a cinematographer for the Netflix film called The Devil All the Time with Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson. And I can't remember who else. There's a lot more people in there that are really good actors. And also a film by Noah Baumbach called White Noise. So VistaVision was created to be able to show a film bigger than it already is. Similar to IMAX, it gives the film, the lenses, a wider frame to capture. It allows you to get more picture it allows you to get more into one shot and to really see more. And it's great for big epics such as The Brutalist. The film is about this guy whose name is Laszlo Toth, and he's like a very accomplished architect in Europe. I believe he's from Budapest or something like that. He's separated from his wife during World War II, and the opening scene is him arriving on Ellis Island, which I truly believe it's the most taken away I've kind of ever been in a movie theater. I did see it in IMAX. I definitely recommend, if you have the time, I would dedicate a whole day to just seeing this movie in IMAX, because there is an intermission that's 15 minutes, which I think would be very beneficial for long movies to include intermissions. I think it would motivate people a lot more to go and do that, so they know that there's a dedicated break really quick to just step out and stretch and use the restroom. But Brady Corbet's film is one that he's mentioned that was very difficult to get made, and he actually said in an interview that he didn't think it was ever going to get made, because a lot of films that go for things like The Brutalist is going for, critics have described the film as monumental, and it definitely feels like that. It feels like this larger than life thing that I've personally never felt with any Christopher Nolan film, which I feel like people establish the same reviews to his films. But with this, it feels so foreign to me, and it's so fine detailed. This film is so fine detailed that I feel like I'm actually invading this world and that I shouldn't be here. And that's why in the opening scene, the score is playing, which is amazing, and they're on the ship, and it's really loud, and there's people not speaking English, and there's the narration from Felicity Jones, and I believe she's reading like a letter, and a letter that he wrote to her about his journey to America. And then at the climax of the score by Daniel Bloomberg does the dun 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 dun. It makes me feel like it made so much adrenaline run through my body. I feel like it's that feeling you get when you're like about to go skydiving, or I've never been skydiving, but it's that feeling you would get, being up really high, like when you're scared of heights and when you're up on a really tall ladder. Like it's kind of like a vertigo type feeling, but not as like uncoordinating. It's more of just the physical feeling, and you feel this, like, feel scared, but you also feel excited and you're nervous, and there's so many things, and you've never been to this place before. The people around you have never done before. So when they arrive to America and they're hugging each other and they're saying we made it, and you see the shot, beautiful shot of the moment when they're exiting the ship, and you see the camera is like handheld, but you could tell it's on a really long lens, so it's like zoomed in super far away, and you just see the sky. You don't really see anything, and then you see the Statue of Liberty. The combination of the score and the visuals of the Statue of Liberty, and in the context of the time and what we're hearing and what we're seeing, it's just off the bat, it's an amazing movie moment that I just can't help but kind of be blown away by it. So seeing it in IMAX definitely amplified that feeling a lot. But seeing all that as an opening scene and establishing the stakes of it and the size of the moment, everything just feels like it's larger than life. Like there's these giant skyscrapers that and like the people and the characters in the film, played by Guy Pearce and played by Adrian Brody, they feel like these larger than life characters. Like they're almost like they're an accumulation of a bunch of different historical figures that have been a symbol of hatred and evil, or of hope and artistic expression and creativity, but also seeing the negative sides to both characters and how they're both traumatized people, and not that that's what the movie's about. With the script, you really get a sense of what is going on in these guys' minds while they're talking to each other and having the most serious conversation, having the most expressive conversation, yet there's so much being unsaid that I think Brady Corbet like nails the dynamics between every character in the film. Even the guy, I don't know his name, Joe Alwyn. This is the first time I've ever seen him in a film, but he plays Guy Pearce's son, and even he killed it. He plays a piece of shit person, but the way he's able to perform that is, I feel it, I believe it. It's there. You definitely you know that you've definitely met these kind of people, especially if you know met people in North that live in North Scottsdale. All the old people that live in North Scottsdale, you could definitely like imagine this being any one of their grandpas or great grandpas. Like these dudes are like the wealthy elites, you know what I mean? Guy Pearce, I think, will be nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. I think he should win. And one thing I'll be doing next month, closer to the Oscars, I'm going to be doing my own of who should be nominated in those and who I think is the best. I'm going to create my own nominations and create my own winners. But anyways, going back to The Brutalist, Guy Pearce plays a very powerful person, and you can tell, and he says throughout the film that money is not an issue when it comes to building the things that Adrian Brody's character, Laszlo Toth, is designing. That power definitely corrupts and has him do some very, wild things. But I can't stress enough, like, how much how well Brady Corbet is able to share the size of the moment and what this moment means. This is just the kind of shit that I like. When it comes to watching movies, like this had me written all over it whenever I read the plot summary and saw the trailer. It's also produced by A24, which is a big selling point for a lot of people. I feel like A24 has gained the trust to a lot of, a lot of the mainstream movie watchers. They've become a very reliable studio, such as kind of like Miramax did in the 90s and what they were able to do. And that Adrian Brody, he gets pretty much tracked down by Guy Pearce's character, whose name is Harrison Van Buren, which just sounds like one of those elite, rich, wealthy people from like the early 20th century that were kind of building America and were making the big decisions of like how shit is going to work in big cities before the cities were built. Harrison Van Buren is willing to is commissioning him to construct a huge building that's like a chapel, a gymnasium, a theater, a library, and a swimming pool, like a whole bunch of different things in one building. And Laszlo is just obsessed with this one design, and he has full creative control over it, which is also another allegory that this film is for, is having creative control and what someone is able to do when given an opportunity and being able to make a change. And I think what attracts the two characters together is that Harrison Van Buren is a very like powerful dude who doesn't like to be emotionally manipulated, so he kind of is very shut down. He's emotionally very shut down because I don't think he wants to let anything in to possibly ruin what legacy he has going for himself. All he cares about is like pure dominance. And another spoiler, that turns into a very sexual way as well. I know I already said a lot, but I don't want to just explain the entire plot of the movie because this film is so much more than the story. The story is very big and it is an epic film. It's very ambitious. It obviously is going for something that was made of the time that VistaVision was being made, like these big Hollywood epics with big budgets. But surprisingly, this only had a $10 million budget. So the fact that they were able to make something of this size, of this proportion, it's amazing. And like I was mentioning earlier, that score by Bloomberg is mind-blowing because it feels like a psychedelic symphony, and how some of the strings are mixed, they're like synthesized in a weird way. The strings and the clashing of the percussion, just it all is just, it's insane. It makes the moments that it's showing feel 10 times bigger. There's a scene where a train is exploding and it feels like the most haunting thing you've ever witnessed. That, and it all seems just a little horrific. At everything that's happening to these characters and everything that's happening in the world, it just feels like everything is crumbling. But at the same time, there's so much beauty around it, which is what brutalism is. Which it's you can just tell that Brady Corbet has fully thought out the cyclical thinking that this can cause about filmmaking and architecture, is that this guy Laszlo Toth designed buildings in Europe, and he comes to America thinking that all of his buildings were destroyed and blown up, but the way he designs these buildings, they survived. The way he uses nature and natural light in the real world, it's also involved into his work. It's not just a good looking room or a good looking building. It actually has functionality to it, which is what Bauhaus is, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what I'm talking about. What I also hate about this film is that when I talk about it, I feel so pretentious because it's a 3.5 hour movie about a fucking immigrant architect. But it's just, if you really give this movie a chance, I promise you it's going to be worth it. With these 3.5 hour movies, you have to be able to give it a chance. Like, you have to be able to submit and let yourself enjoy something. These are the kinds of films that people are talking about wanting to be made instead of the $200 million Disney movies. There's $10 million movies that are being made that are moving and inspiring, and they are saying something, and you can just feel that it has a voice. I think this can truly be like one of the best films of the decade. But that's it. I feel like I might have just sounded like I was saying a whole lot of nothing, but I hope that means something to some of you guys. So, peace.